Ready to begin the second half. We talked about one of the trademarks of Texas, their bench. And look at the people involved offensively. Davis leading the way, but Harris and Williams with 8. USC led by Miller, and we mentioned most of that coming from the free throw line. That first half, USC shot only 36%. On the other hand, 65.5 from the field for Texas.
That's because most of USC's shots have been perimeter shots and not good shot selection in the first half for them. Let's see if they turn that around here in the second half early.
Cynthia Cooper had a struggling first half. She was 4 of 10 from the field. They need her to get back in offensively. There she is with the ball. Nelson is in after picking up those 3 fouls in the first half. She's the pivot, number 32, and she has the ball now, and that was a very good run play, very well run play, and Ford then on the rebound comes out and hits it. But that's what you need to start second half, is call a play, run it well, and USC did.
That is a good sign, because not only did they run the play correctly, but they got the ball inside, which is where they're going to have to score from there.
And there is the outside part of that Texas attack. Fran Harris hitting from outside, back to a 10-point lead. For the national championship, USC and Texas. Texas 33-0, USC 31-4, ranked 3rd at the end of the season. Texas top ranked for the beginning of the season. Into Cheryl Miller, and it's going to be a foul on Cheryl. And that is her 3rd foul.
She doesn't like that call at all. One of the adjustments I expect to see USC doing in this second half is getting the ball into Cheryl inside more. This is an example of that. But her body control, Andy Lloyd had great positioning and drew the offensive foul.
She's pleading her case at the other end. Well, they have her inside, though. That's what you thought they should be doing, is move her inside instead of outside.
Well, that's how they were so effective in the first half, both scoring-wise and rebounding. Cheryl had 1 rebound in the first half. That's not right. That's not good for this USC team.
USC now playing the zone. Neither one of these teams really are known for their zones. They like to play that man-to-man pressure, but a change here by the women of Troy. There's the foul difficulty now. Miller with 3. Nelson had 3 in the first half. Lloyd and Smith. But again, Texas, even though they picked up many more fouls in that first half, you figure they can spread them out and might not get in as much difficulty.
Well, with Texas's depth, the foul situation really doesn't affect them as much as it will at USC.
Fran Harris has hit 2 in a row in the second half. 49-37, biggest lead of the game for Texas.
Still has their full court man-to-man pressure on. And again, I would expect to see USC try to go inside the paint or inside the key area more this second half.
Cynthia Cooper forces a shot. Annette Smith comes down the rebound, and Nelson had a hand on it, stopped the break. It'll still be Texas basketball. Linda Sharp making the adjustments, but right now she's still down by 12.
This zone that USC is in, this 2-3 zone, is probably designed to stop Texas's inside game, which was so effective the first half. However, you've got Fran Harris to worry about and Beverly Williams on the perimeter.
Clarissa Davis.
And Clarissa Davis.
Yeah, don't forget Clarissa. In the first half, she was 4 of 5 for the field. She now has 11 points in this game. You're going to hear her name. She's going to be a household name by the time she gets out of school. And we have a pushing foul away from the ball.
Now that was kind of a crazy call, because Cheryl Miller was coming off of Cammie Etheridge, the Texas player, and she tripped over Cammie Etheridge's foot, and the foul was called on Annette Smith, who I don't believe was anywhere near the play.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. That would be her 4th foul, though. Well, it's unofficially as her 4th foul. I'm with you, Mimi. I did not see it. Here is Wyndham now, who has not had an offensive display thus far. In it goes. Nelson. And Sherry Nelson was effective in that first half before she got into foul difficulty.
It's the inside where they've got to attack, and as you mentioned, the foul difficulty is what's going to be key here. If Cheryl Miller or Sherry Nelson gets in trouble, USC can't pull it out from perimeter shooting.
51-39 Texas. Davis working inside against that zone, travel to the ball. Kay Hemphill will come back in for Texas, and Smith will sit down after committing that 4th foul. Kay Hemphill into the game.
This is one of Jody Conrad's energizers, as she called them earlier. Hemphill for Texas, number 22.
Cynthia Cooper with some pressure from Beverly Williams. Beverly Williams did not play well in the first half of the game Friday, and so Jody Conrad just benched her for about the first 10 minutes of the second half.
You know, it wasn't that she wasn't playing well, it's that she wasn't rebounding well, and Jody is spoiled, she said, by her offensive rebounding. If she doesn't live up to that, Beverly sits down.
Miller really frustrated. She had an easy shot inside. It didn't go. They do have the basketball, and that kind of epitomizes the struggle for the women of Troy. Cooper inside and another miss. And we're going to have a foul on Beverly Williams. USC has had shot after shot inside, Mimi. Easy shots that just don't drop for them.
I think the problem, Gary, again, their half-court offense is not working well. We see a lot of individual play, a lot of one-on-one moves, but no real teamwork here. They've got to start using their teamwork to open up some opportunities for them.
That was the third foul on Beverly Williams. 16:55 to go. Holly Ford, she's an excellent shooter, and another foul. Boy, we have a bunch of fouls here in this game. It's Pretty coming back in. That is Hemphill's third foul. And I tell you what, Jody may have to send for some more Lady Longhorns back there in Austin to finish this game.
She might also have to look for another technical in the second half to straighten the refs out like she did the first half.
She did that. She exactly did that. As Mimi referred to the first half, she worked the officials and started to change their calls. There's another miss inside. USC has had the good percentage shots, but they can't get them in. 51-39. Here's Cammie, intended baseline. Davis. Pretty is there, and Pretty is a story in this game.
That's being in the right place at the right time. That pass was not to Kara Pretty, but heads-up play on her part resulted in 2 points.
Cooper with some good ball handling. Gets it out to Rhonda Wyndham. Wyndham has really been non-existent offensively. They need some offense from her. She was 1 of 3 from the field in the first half. Now she's trying to crank it up, and that'll help. She is fouled as the basket will count.
These fouls are just piling up.
That's going to be on Etheridge. It's only her first.
USC really needs someone to spark them, and here's a shot by Rhonda Wyndham that just might do that. She gets the shot, the 2 points, and the foul shot as well.
So Etheridge, the only one really that hadn't been in the foul column for this Texas team, committing her first. And Wyndham at the line. She gets the three-point play. 53-42 Texas. Little trapping pressure now from USC. Van Harris brings it across.
You know, Gary, this is almost an instant replay of their regular season game. USC was down by 10 at half, went down by almost 16 in the second half, and then hung on to that deficit and lost by 16.
Etheridge will pop one from outside. Rebounded, Davis. And we're going to have a foul, and it's going to be on Miller, and that is 4 on Scheller Miller, and the superstar may have to come out of the ball game with 15:55 left.
Cheryl Miller is not happy about this call. Look at the pass, or rather the shot inside. Look at the positioning by the Texas players. Good rebounding positioning.
Where in the world did they get a foul out of that? Where's the verticality come in on that?
I'll tell you what, though, that's almost a payback call because that's exactly what Cheryl did in the first half, and she got the foul called as well.
Well, you don't want to have your superstar sitting on the bench if you're USC, or for that matter, if you're interested in women's basketball. You want to see her play, but now with 4 fouls, she's out with over 15, almost 16 minutes to go in this game. There she is, and she is obviously very upset.
Gary, don't count this USC team out, though. They have played in 4 regular season games this year without Cheryl because of injuries and have won all 4 of them.
They weren't playing Texas, though, Mimi.
Okay, I'll give you that point.
Coming down to the rebound is Cooper. Wyndham. And she just overpassed the ball. She had a shot. Instead tried to get a little greedy. Went inside, and Pretty came up with a steal. Here's Beverly Williams at the other end. And we're going to have another foul on, this time, Fran Harris. That will be the second on Harris. With Miller out of the ball game, Amy, what changes do you have to make offensively? What can you do?
I think their game plan should remain the same. They have to go inside. This time it's Sherry Nelson with Cheryl Miller on the bench, and use their perimeter scoring from a Howell, number 10, or a Cooper, because they're both very capable from the perimeter.
Wyndham a lot more active in this second half.
She needs to be. She's got to run their transition game and also their half-court game.
There is Nelson, and she traveled with the ball, and again, give Pretty a lot of credit. She was just absolutely not going to let her back in.
Kara Pretty knows she is playing well. She's had a smile on her face since the time she first made the basket in the first half.
It's interesting in a championship game how somebody just seems to come out of nowhere to become a very integral part of the win. Of course, you expected this one.
Gary, I'll tell you what, right now, you can see it on USC's face. They need a timeout. They're tired. They're down now, and they've got to get a rest. And Linda Sharp should consider a timeout at this point.
You saw the rebounds. Texas, obviously, with the advantage there. Well, you've got Cheryl Miller on the bench. Texas has this game going their way, and right now, USC losing some poise along with being tired as Etheridge comes up with a steal. That's 8 turnovers now against USC. Baseline, Fran Harris, and rebound followed by Davis, and she saves it into Harris. And right now, Texas is on a roll.
USC needs a timeout. They've got to have a timeout. There is momentum on Texas's side, and USC has got to regroup.
Regroup might be an understatement. The ladies from Troy are in trouble.
Who says you can't have 100% imported hops and a less filling beer? Old world aging and a less filling beer. Smooth super premium taste and a less filling beer. Michelob Light, the best of both worlds.
Michelob Light, oh yes you can. Have it all.
When you buy a Nissan 300ZX, you buy a legend, a tradition of many Z cars, each meticulously made to the tolerance of an expensive watch. You buy a racing heritage unmatched by any car in its class. But most of all, when you buy a 300ZX, you buy Nissan. For this car expresses what we believe a quality sports car should be. Awesome. The name is Nissan.
This 16-year-old may soon find herself on death row. How old do you have to be executed? In one state, the age limit is 10. Tonight on CBS.
Texas playing like the top-ranked team that they are with a 58-42 advantage. The All-American team announced this week, and here are some of the members who have played so well as they've had a very busy week in Lexington here in the Bluegrass Country. Cindy Brown, Teresa Edwards, Cammie Etheridge, who's playing in this ball game, Wanda Ford. Continuing on, Cheryl Miller, of course, you expect her to be in there. Lily Mason saw her play Friday. Great open court player. Sue Wicks out of Rutgers. Congratulations to that group. And right now, congratulations are in order for Texas. They are playing an outstanding basketball game.
This is the Texas team that I've seen so many times this season playing right on top of their game.
Cynthia Cooper, and her shot has just failed her today. Nelson has done some tough work inside. She gets the follow.
Now there's one of the adjustments that USC must make, and seems like they are. Going inside, getting the shots, and also paying more attention to offensive boards.
Etheridge just gets it out of the pack, and then Cooper comes up with a steal, and Cooper forces the shot, and we're going to have a foul. It's going to go on Cammie Etheridge.
There is an example of another adjustment USC must make. They've got to start putting more pressure full court on Texas.
And we're going to have a timeout. Timeout is called. 13:47. USC trying to put the pieces back together. It's been all Texas.
This weekend, I'm seeing Rhonda. I got the Camaro. I'm seeing the folks, so I got a Chevette. My sister's in town this weekend with their kids.
You need a big car.
For just the right car, ask National for their low weekend rates, starting as low as $21.95 a day for an economy car like the Chevrolet Chevette.
For my class reunion, the Cadillac.
Weekends, it pays to get national attention.
An idea doesn't conform to a 9-to-5 schedule. So at Hewlett-Packard, we're always thinking. Because even though we sell business computing systems, what we really do is solve problems. We never stop asking, what if?
Jim? Mike, I've got an idea on that branch office network. What if? Connect all the
USC trying to get back in this, trapped very well on Tammy Etheridge.
This is one of the adjustments Coach Linda Sharp made in that first timeout. They have got to put more pressure full court on Texas, and it works here. Tammy Etheridge is a veteran, yet they forced her to make a bad pass.
Well, Linda Sharp made that adjustment, but I thought Jody Conrad had a very strategic timeout.
That was definitely strategic, Gary, because she doesn't want the pressure of USC now to affect this Texas team. They've got a good lead. She wants them to keep their calm and control the game as they have since the first half.
Cynthia Cooper, who's the emotional leader of this team, the spark plug, trying to bring him back. She's forced a couple of shots. This last one she was fouled on. She cuts it to 58-45. USC without Cheryl Miller, who has 4 fouls. Let's see if they can come after him again with this full court pressure.
Again, the adjustment on the full court pressure. Let's see how Texas adjusts to the pressure.
Gammy this time handled it very well. Got it off to Clarissa Davis.
I think the point to be made there is that Cammie got rid of the ball before the trap was set.
There's Davis. Spinning move.
One of the things USC is not doing is they're not stopping Texas's inside game. They have to do that.
And Cheryl Miller can't stop anybody right now as she awaits the point when she can return on the bench with 4 fouls.
They're going to have to look to Cynthia Cooper, who has the ball now, number 44, to really spark them offensively.
Nelson double teamed. Harris comes up with a rebound. They trap her, and she drives out of it. Out of South Oak Cliff High School in Dallas. They call her Otto for automatic because she is such an effective shooter from outside. When they went to the zone, I think she probably started salivating. She knew she had all kinds of shots coming. There's a beautiful pass from Harris to Pretty.
This Texas team is so balanced. It doesn't matter who has their hands on the ball. Everyone is capable of scoring and getting the assist.
Cynthia Cooper, boy, she just can't get it to go. It's just not there today. But there it's thrown away, but the chase, and Davis showing her speed.
You gotta love that athletic ability. It's incredible to watch.
You can see why Jody Conrad says she is the prototype player of the future. She is the future of women's basketball. Cheryl Miller, frustrated, pensive, and very, very worried.
He's your first child. We want to be there. It's your new house. We want to be there. You're working hard to make your dreams come true. Dean Witter wants to dream them with you.
No matter what goals you have in life, when Dean Witter helps plan your investments, you're treated special.
Everybody is somebody at Dean Witter.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
Who says you can't have it all? Who says you can't love your work and change your face? Who says you can't have light beer with super premium taste? Michelob Light. Oh, yes, you can. Michelob Light. Oh, yes, you can.
Super premium taste and a less filling beer.
Michelob Light. Oh, yes, you can. Have it all.
Rupp Arena, Lexington, Kentucky, the site of the championship game in 1986, the women's championship, and Texas is really playing well. And here is an example of how they've been playing. Clarissa Davis just absolutely tracked this one down and ran by Holly Ford.
You could see Fran Harris's eyes get big. She saw Clarissa Davis out ahead of the pack. Look at the reaction on Clarissa Davis. Is she having a good time?
Well, look at the bench scoring, and Clarissa has 18 of those 33. Pretty with 9. I don't think we're surprised by Clarissa Davis, but Pretty is a surprise.
Kara Pretty's only averaging 4.5 points a game, and for her to come into a championship game and score like this, as well as play the kind of defense she has, I've said it all day long, it's a bonus for Texas.
With Miller out of the lineup, Texas has outscored USC 12-4. Miller has not scored in the second half. She had 16 in the first, sitting on the sideline with 4. Holly Brown, and she really has a beautiful shot. Good rotation on the ball. Must have learned that from her brother Don, huh?
I think she probably learned it herself, Gary. Holly Ford does have an excellent shot, and she needs to be scoring more in this second half if they have any hopes of getting back into this game.
64-48. I don't think Don shoots as well as she does. He was a banger, a defensive player. 12 minutes left in this game. Here's Pretty. She's got the hot hand, and she's trying to go for 10 and 11 there, and Nelson saved it. Nope, she did not. I think she stepped out. Look at that. USC has only one timeout left with that much time remaining.
Even if they are able to bring the deficit closer, they need those timeouts strategically. Here comes Cheryl Miller, Gary.
And Harris missing and tried to follow, commits a foul, and as you mentioned, here comes CM,
Now
Cheryl Miller.
let's see if Texas goes right at Cheryl and tries to get her out of the game right away.
You know, she's fouled out, what, once this year?
I think that's right. Only one time.
And so it'll be interesting to see if she can play with 4, with still 11:49 left in this game.
She's talking to each one of her teammates right now, trying to let them know what needs to be done. They need a teamwork effort here. It can't be an individual effort. And if Cheryl tries to do that, she'll be out of this game with her 5th foul.
She's meant so much to the sport and to the United States. She was on that gold medal winning team in Los Angeles, 2 national championships, 4-time All-American, 2nd ever in the history of this game. Ann Myers is the other. And that is going to be... Whose basketball is it? Now, wait a minute. Bob Olson's going to confer with his partner out there, and they're going to award the ball to USC. A little discussion going on there.
First, he pointed Texas's way. I think Linda Sharp, the USC coach, not only wanted a foul, but at least the ball out of bounds.
And to Holly Ford, she'll bring it out to Cooper. 64-48. Texas, 11:42 left. This is for the title. Cheryl Miller scoreless in the second half. Can't get that one. Pretty gets a rebound.
Looks like Cheryl might try to do it all herself, at least offensively down there. Let's see how poised she is on defense. That's going to be key.
Boy, it must be frustrating for her to have such a great career and to have such a difficult afternoon. Here's Beverly Williams. She just moved it in beautifully. Very smart move, and she had an easy jump shot.
It seems like they're playing some kind of junk defense, like a diamond and 1, with the 1 on Fran Harris to prevent her from scoring outside.
Sure didn't bother Williams, did it?
No, it certainly
Here is
didn't.
Nelson, and Pretty made it a tough shot at best, but Nelson now with 11 points. Sherry's played a strong game. Here comes Williams. Williams has just great feet. Look at that pass to Pretty. Williams does some things out there. In fact, Conrad's saying she doesn't know how good she is sometimes.
She is so good, and this transition game, Gary, is so good.
There's Cooper on the move. USC, though, cannot trade baskets. They've got to start making some inroads on this deficit. They trail 68-52, 10.5 to go.
Gary, USC is tired. They can't put the pressure on full court the way they need to be able to cut this deficit.
They're getting the ball inside beautifully. Miller comes out with a rebound. Here she comes. She'll pull it out. Off it goes to Holly Ford, and Ford gets it. Now, here is the beginnings, maybe, of a comeback. USC able to convert 2 baskets in a hurry, and here comes Williams to the other end. Etheridge into Davis. Spinning move on Nelson. Nelson, good defense on the play. Miller with the rebound. Cheryl's trying somehow to bring this team back. Nice pass to Cooper. And all of a sudden, the women of Troy have cut it to 12. Williams at the other end. And you talk about an action-packed game going from baseline to baseline, and Williams is exhausted as she gets up. That'll be a foul on Williams, by the way, her 4th.
Cheryl Miller came in and really sparked this team offensively and defensively. She's not trying to do it all offensively, as I mentioned earlier. She dished off there wisely for the transition basket. She just might be able to bring this team back, Gary.
Well, the basket did count, but it was a foul on Williams, her 4th. It's 70-56 as Nelson will go to the line.
One of the things that Texas is allowing USC to do right now is get into their transition. We haven't seen USC's transition since the beginning of this game. Now, all of a sudden, with this comeback, there it is again.
Well, you wonder. I thought you made a good point. Can USC have enough stamina to stay at this tempo, even though they would like to run?
No, if they start running back and forth with the full court pressure they have to put on, this Texas team isn't even breathing hard.
Sherry Nelson gets both free throws to go. Cuts it back to 12 again with 9:51. Tammy Etheridge, such superb shape. She's been a triathlete. In fact, quite a story about her. On the bicycle end of it, she was able to ride a bicycle 9 miles with a flat tire to finish. And here's Andrea Lloyd. She forced the shot. Miller bringing it out. 3-on-1. Beautiful pass to Cooper.
Texas needs a timeout, Gary.
It's a 10-point game. It's a 10-point game.
Texas has got to get a timeout here. USC has just snatched the momentum right away from them. Look who is responsible for it. Cheryl Miller is coming on and coming on strong.
There was
Look
a
at that
foul
beautiful
on
finish.
this also. I did not spot it initially, but Fran Harris was whistled for a foul. Here comes Miller. It's Miller time as she gets it off to Cooper, and they call a foul on Harris at the end of the play, her fourth.
It is an automotive advance whose time has come. The Mercedes-Benz Supplemental Restraint System, SRS. In a severe frontal impact, a driver's side airbag and emergency tensioning retractors in both front seatbelts supplement 3-point seatbelt restraint. All in a fraction of a second. SRS, only from Mercedes-Benz. And now standard equipment on every Mercedes-Benz for 1986.
Dear, beloved Uncle Dwight. He certainly had a lot of friends.
Pruitts drove all the way from Alaska.
What?
Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. I counted license plates from 18 different states.
Hey, Earl, what kind of motor oil do you use?
Motor oil is motor oil.
What?
Motor oil is motor oil.
Oh, yes, he is.
Motor oil definitely is not motor oil. Four-cylinder cars work harder and need specially formulated Valvoline 4-Guard. Don't drive your car to an early grave.
Texas led by 18 in the second half. Been cut to 10, and one of the major reasons is Cheryl Miller. She hasn't scored, but she's done everything else. She's had 3 assists and 4 rebounds since returning from the bench.
She's really lighting up their offense. The one concern I would have at this point, Cheryl Miller got a rest because she sat out for so long. Can the rest of her players run with her this entire second half with 9:30 to go?
And remember, Cheryl playing with 4 fouls. At the free throw line as Cooper completes a 3-point play, and this is the closest they've been in a long time. 9. What a great comeback. It looked like Texas is going to put the lid on this one, and all of a sudden, Miller comes in, and it becomes a different game almost instantaneously.
Look at the way Miller is also playing help defense right now. She's doing it all.
And remember, with 4 fouls, the thing she can't do is foul out right now, as Lloyd will kick it out to Etheridge. Good defense by the women of Troy. There's Harris. Bad shot, but it's rebounded by Etheridge. Lucky break for the Lady Longhorns. Up it comes to Lloyd. Left-handed shot. Inside Wimpish. And that'll count, and she's fouled.
That's key for Texas, and I'll tell you why. Because although the momentum shifted to USC, they're still doing fundamental things correctly. Rebounding position is key, and this is what Yolanda Wimbish did right here. The shot goes up by Andy Lloyd. Good shot. Look at the position Wimbish has. She takes it back up strong without hesitation. That's fundamental basketball.
Amy, that is such a momentum stopper. You're coming back, and they get chance after chance, and finally come away now with possibly a 3-point play. No, Wimbish missed it. The foul was on Cooper momentarily. Sir, we have a lane violation against Cheryl Miller, so she'll be able to shoot another free throw. But when you really put out such great effort and you cut it down, that is it just knocks you flat when you have that many opportunities to score.
Well, I'll tell you what, each of these players has 8 minutes and 53 seconds left in this season. I don't think they're going to let I would hope that they wouldn't let being tired stop them, but sometimes it has to. You just run out of gas.
The mind is willing, but the body won't go sometimes, huh? 73-61. Here's Cheryl trying to create something. Very tough shot. Doesn't go for it. Andre Lloyd kicks it down. Etheridge is by herself.
Now, that is not the kind of shot Cheryl Miller wants to take. That's what we saw her doing earlier. She doesn't want to force a shot like that. Continue to do what she did when she first came back into the game. Pass off, create offensive opportunities.
Miller has not scored in the second half. She had 16 in the first half. Here is Nelson, and she walked to the ball.
Kara Pretty, you can't say enough about Kara Pretty. She is having the game of her life. If she's a senior, it's the last game of her career. What a nice way to end.
The enforcer, and she certainly has enforced her defensive play. Lloyd at the 8:05 mark to Pretty. And a foul will go on Karen Howell. Howell coming around from behind, committing her first. Karen Howell out of Portland, we mentioned, the deadly perimeter shooter who has had some outstanding games, and they're going to need her outside shooting if they're going to come back in this one.
I think the reason she has been relatively quiet tonight is this Texas pressure defense does not allow an outside shot without at least 2 hands, maybe 4 hands in your face.
Well, that's an appropriate graphic over an appropriate picture. The bench and what it's done. That's something. But that's exactly what's happened all year long, though. Shouldn't be surprised.
It's their depth, and everyone contributes. They've got 4 or 5 players in double figures for the year.
You know, the interesting thing was Jody said, I wasn't convinced we could establish the depth until about the middle of December. She became comfortable with the fact that she could go that deep.
Well, one of the things Jody hasn't been comfortable with herself is substituting so much. She's never done that in her 10-year career at Texas.
Andrea Lloyd, 5 points. Lloyd hasn't scored that much, but certainly has played a very impressive game with that bad knee and all. And Jody was talking about the fact that she hasn't been able to practice a lot because of the knee. It's hurt her conditioning and her quickness, but she's looked awfully good today.
Jody called Andy Lloyd the best player that hasn't been named All-American.
That's right. And Wimbish is fouled by Miller, and that's all for Cheryl.
That's it.
Her career is over, and what a disappointing way for it to end.
You're going to see a lot of respect right now, Gary, from the fans in this arena as well as the players on the floor.
A standing ovation. So with 7:23, a Millerless team somehow going to have to try to pull this one out. 77-61, Lloyd, underhand shovel, and another foul. Let's go back to this 5th and final foul that ended the career of the finest woman to play this game.
Not a smart move, really, on Cheryl's part. In the open floor, that's not where you want to get your 5th foul. Maybe fighting for a rebound or going in for a shot, but not on the open floor like that. But she's diving for the ball just as she's done the entire 4 years at USC. She never gives up. The intensity is there every second she's in the game.
Well, there's a lot of talk about her future, what she wants to do as a model. She's been in the radio television business, working at USC for a degree there, and obviously very, very disappointed. She really almost brought this team back, doing things that you said she needed to. Then again, she fell right back into what she was doing wrong in that first half and fouled out.
That's right. The one outside shot that she forced, and then it just took her completely out of what she started to do for this team.
A little over 7 minutes to go. And Texas is trying to cap off an undefeated season. Cynthia Cooper has played a much stronger second half. Tough shot, able to get it to go.
Now, Texas can't let down. This is an important point to make right now. This is not over for Texas. They've got to continue to play the way they've played for the first half and the beginning of this second half.
20 points for Cooper. Boy, this is a physically demanding game. Here's Etheridge on the move. And they're going to track down a foul. Looks like Sherry Nelson, and that would be 4 on Nelson. Etheridge getting up very slowly. She is shaken up. We mentioned Cammie and her triathlon experience and riding on that flat tire, and she talked about the fact that, you know, there's been an awful lot of pressure this year, that sometimes it hasn't been as enjoyable being number 1 all year long and people expecting so much.
Look at the kind of day she's had today. Look at the rebounds. She's a point guard, Gary. She's got 6 rebounds and 9 assists, which is well above her average for an entire game.
Mimi, I think it speaks well to be an All-American and only average 5 points a game. That shows you what she contributes in other areas.
Well, you know, Cammie was a scorer in high school, and she had to completely change her role when she came to Texas. They asked her to run the show, not necessarily scoring offensively, but just directing everyone else.
She gets a roll. 3-time All-Southwest Conference as Cheryl Miller looks on and has to be going through all types of emotions right now. They talk about Cammie's being an extension of Jody. In other words, she absolutely is her alter ego out there, does the things that Jody says I don't even have to tell her about. And there is another foul, and it's going to go on Cooper, who thought she had a clean block. She rocketed that one back, didn't she? That's 4 on Cynthia.
She's looking for a little bit of assist there from the other ref. She can't believe it.
We're going to have to check the totals on fouls in this game. Is there a record for fouls in the women's basketball game? I'm a rookie here. You got to help me out.
If there is, I don't know about it, Gary.
We may be approaching it. Here's Clarissa Davis. 79-64.
You know, you look at Clarissa Davis, and if you were Jody Conrad, you've got to be excited about next year's possibilities.
Wow. Well, everybody said, can Texas win the big one? I think they're going to put that aside. They were ranked number 1 the last 3 years, but not able to get to the Final Four the last 2, and there were people saying, hey, they do well in the regular season. What happens in tournament play? Well, they're putting that behind them right now. Holly Ford on a pass from Cooper, and Cooper playing with 4 fouls very aggressively, kept it alive to Wyndham. And we're going to have a foul over the back. Holly Ford. That's 3 on Holly.
USC is getting shots. They just can't buy a bucket right now.
And so we'll go to the other end with 6:16 left. This game has changed so much, Mimi. We talked about Clarissa being the prototype, the future of this game. One of the things she does, for instance, she's not just coming down the rebound, she's taking them right up to score. You're seeing better defensive play, the quickness. I think Jody Conrad said it very well. We've had to do things better in every area because we can't get away with some of the things we used to.
That's right. One of the things that hurt them last year is they were very inflexible in their game plan. You know, you would expect from a Texas team full court pressure defense as well as a running offense. This year, she's thrown some different looks in it. We saw that Friday night with Western Kentucky. She did not press full court for the first time in her 10-year career at Texas.
82-64 as Cooper will try one from outside, just doesn't go. Here comes Cammie. She may do a little creating here. Yes, sir. Off it goes. Beautiful pass to Wimbish. You kind of expected Katie to do something different there, but Cammie, I should say, because she's always got that behind-the-back pass in the back of her mind. Remember the one she had earlier this year?
You could almost hear this crowd just taking a breath, waiting to see what Cammie would come up with.
And there is Rhonda Wyndham at the other end connecting. 84-66. There's the time remaining in the ball game. And it goes to Pretty, and Pretty backs in, and rebound Davis. Karen Howe will bring it down. Nice lead pass to Cooper. Again, USC at moments has really run the break effectively. Cooper now with 22 points.
They just can't keep it up because of they are just so tired right now. The full court pressure, you can see Rhonda Wyndham just jogging down the floor.
There's Pretty, and she's in double figures. Who is that girl? She has really been a surprise story in this game.
I know Coach Conrad has got to be happy with Kara's performance today because she just thinks Kara works harder than anybody, and is glad to see it pay off.
And she's leaving now. Kara Pretty leaves as Annette Smith comes in to replace her. There she is. What a way for her to end her career with 15 points in this game and outstanding defensive effort inside. She has really been tough.
With all the work that this Texas team puts in and day out for the past 4 years, it's a tremendous way to end the year. Pays off for all that hard work.
Howell on a behind-the-back reach-in attempt commits a foul as Hemphill comes in. There's Kara Pretty, the one that you were talking about. On the other end, it's not as happy a bench, and certainly Cheryl Miller would like to have ended her career in a different manner, not just individually, but of course team-wise too.
One of the points I'd like to make about Cheryl, especially in the second half of this season, that speaks to the maturity of her as a player. She's really started to include the rest of her teammates in the game, and that's why they were so successful. She included them in every way, scoring, passing, rebounding, and because of that, they're here in the final game today.
But it must be frustrating to win it as a freshman and sophomore and then not even get to the Final Four as a junior and then get to the final game and not be able to win it. Wyndham on the break. Don't forget, immediately following this, final round coverage of the TPC. 4:19 left in it. Are you surprised?
No, we talked earlier, and I think I predicted this.
You did, and the interesting thing to me is that everybody thought that Texas was coming in here as the team with all the pressure, that they play tight, but it wasn't that way today. It's entirely opposite.
The pressure was at the regional level. They had never made it past regionals before, Gary, and when they had that very tight game against Ole Miss and won that it really took a lot of the pressure off, although I do think they played tight in the semifinal game Friday night. Today there isn't a sign of that tightness.
Well, they're going to hook 'em horns, and of course people back in Austin are going to be very proud of this Lady Longhorn team. See Campbell even smiling as she fires the ball up the floor. 91-76, that's a lot of points. You know, this year Texas won by a margin of over 27 a game. I mean, they have dominated. They've had absolutely statistically every advantage, it seems.
Gary, the interesting point about that, the domination and the differential in score, is they've also played the toughest schedule in the nation. That's an incredible tribute to this team.
Well, you know, the first game that they played this year, very similar score starting to occur here. You know, it was 94-78, and it's 93-76 right now. Almost similar scores. I think many people thought that playing down in Austin would have made the difference, but it doesn't seem to make any difference to this Texas team.
I knew the seniors on this team weren't going to let this pass by. This team has been developed over what's occurred the past 3 years. First with the injuries 2 years ago, last year the loss to Western Kentucky, and now all the pressure that they've had to endure this season.
Cooper scores. Williams has committed the foul. And she is fouled out of the ball game as Beverly Williams, just a sophomore. You'll see her returning. Her career is not over. Her season is. But it's 93-78 with 2:37 left in this game. And the ladies from the Lone Star State have had things their way.
A typical day with the station wagon, except one thing's changed. The station wagon. The new Ford Taurus wagon, with the design and performance that make everyday driving more than an everyday experience.
Taurus, now there's an American car that has exactly what we've been looking for. Taurus, Taurus. Have you driven a Ford lately?
This year, 1 out of every 6 cars will need to have its brakes repaired. That's why at Midas, we offer a free brake inspection. If your car needs work, you know it's being done by experts. 500,000 people a year have their brakes fixed at Midas, and we're glad to have the business. But more important, we appreciate the trust.
Trust the Midas touch.
93-78 with 2:37 left in this title game from Lexington, Kentucky in Rupp Arena, and the state flag of Texas waving very proudly in the background, as well it should. The committee, the women's basketball committee, is a real joy to work with, and they have been diligently working this week. As you see, some of the members, John Kasser, who is the athletic director at Cal State Long Beach, he was quite a basketball player at one time. People who we have enjoyed very much working with, and I can't tell you how hard they've worked. They were up one morning until 2 o'clock trying to decide what they wanted to do as far as decisions were concerned. You're also looking at Byrne, Gardner, Susie Pembroke Jones, and there is Nora Lynn Finch, who is the chair in the red blouse, and I'll tell you what, she runs a very tight ship. She has this group whipped into order, I'll tell you.
They call her Mother Superior because we're disciplined.
You said that, not me. But I just want to thank that committee. It's been a real pleasure working with them. Started with a pairing show back in Kansas City, and now we're down to the last 2.5 minutes of this season. 93-79. Tammy Etheridge hasn't scored a lot, but she's done everything else. Texas in no hurry, obviously. You know, the shot clock hasn't even been a factor today, has it?
No, not with 2 transition teams. It usually doesn't come into effect.
Winding it down now to 9. Davis will kick it back out. As coming into the ball game for the first time is Audrey Smith, Annette's sister. And here we go to the other end. Caitlin Wright. Caitlin Wright, a sophomore out of Fresno, with 2 minutes left now in the game. Don't forget now, we're a little bit late in joining it, but we'll get there as soon as this one's over. We'll be going to the Tournament Players Championship. See if Larry Mize can hang on to that lead. A sensational round yesterday.
Texas really needs to just use the clock right now to their advantage. There's 10 seconds on the shot clock. Work it inside for a good shot.
Well, what about next year? You've got Davis coming back. There's Davis fouling again. She just puts the finishing touches on everything. They've got Andrea Lloyd, a junior, Beverly Williams, a sophomore. They're going to be tough.
They've also got a couple key recruits coming in. Susan Anderson, for one, is going to be very exciting for this team next year.
What about USC? What will they have coming back? Of course, one of those players will be Rhonda Wyndham and Sherry Nelson and Holly Ford. Those three will be back.
Again, some key recruits. Tammy Hammond out of New Jersey. They also have a 6'7" redshirt, Monica Lamb, who they expect to play for them next year.
By the way, that 6'7" reminds me, there was some talk that Cheryl Miller might slam dunk one if she got an opportunity in this tournament. Georgianne Wells of West Virginia. She's 6'7". She's the only one to ever do that. Is that correct?
She did it twice in regular season games.
Audrey Smith out of Bay City, Texas. They sign pass to her sister. Hemphill tries to come up with it. And does.
Smart move. They're using every bit of that 30-second clock.
Jody Conrad still hasn't sat down. Will she not any time, even though they're leading by this big margin?
I don't think she still believes it.
There she is, still standing.
I'm waiting for the smile to break out, Gary.
There's got to be one in there somewhere, right?
I don't think anybody can come back from 14 points down with 49 seconds to go.
I think that's a sure bet. You know, when she got that technical in the first half, she really kind of turned things around a little bit.
It was key. That just indicates what kind of coaching ability she has. She's well aware of what needs to be done for her players on the floor.
She was the daughter of a semi-pro baseball player. She said she was a tomboy growing up. She's single, and she has really won the admiration of her peers, being the National Coach of the Year, as Cooper now has fouled out of the ball game. 27 points, ties the championship record, but probably be a little comfort to Cynthia with her team losing this ball game. But Cynthia played a strong game coming back after missing a year. She grew up in the Watts area, had to drop out of basketball to help her family financially, working, and I think it's an outstanding story that she's come back and done so well in her senior year. Larissa Davis, on the other hand, will have 3 more years, and that's bad news for all of the opponents of Texas. Hemphill makes it a 97-81 game. Texas has been over 100 points 5 times. They may get it today.
Jody Conrad just did something very smart. She wanted Cammie Etheridge to leave to a standing ovation, so she just substituted Yolanda Wimbish for Cammie.
Cammie's got a great personality. She was delightful to talk to yesterday in the press conference. Here's how, and she can hit those from outside. Great range. So we have 30 seconds left in the title game. What a performance by Texas. Ooh, hitting the deck hard was Fran Harris. And Ed Smith out to Audrey, her sister, and didn't get it. Here's Pyers out of Tucson. Paula Pyers, a sophomore. And losing the basketball is Kaylin Wright. You know, I don't think Jody smiled yet over there. I've been watching Mimi, and she's still very intent. Now she's going down there, and some congratulations. She's down hugging Cammie.
I think the emotion you're going to see from this team after this game will be more than worth 1,000 words.
And here it is. Texas has won their first national championship. Perfect season for Texas. They finished 34-0. The #1 ranked team from beginning to end, winning their first NCAA championship and becoming the first NCAA team to end the season undefeated. Can Texas win the big one? You bet they can. They just did it. On the other hand, Cheryl Miller, a disappointing finish to a great career as she and Cammie Etheridge hug, and you cannot say enough for Cheryl Miller. Linda Sharp denied her 3rd national championship as the Longhorns of Texas have dominated. They have won it, the final, 97-81.
whatever you want to lock in, lock out, lock up, or lock down. Remember, master locks are tough under tough conditions, tough under pressure, tough under fire.
It took me totally by surprise. The other day, some guy asked me how...
And Cammie Etheridge, she didn't score a lot, but she did everything else, assist-wise, rebound-wise, as they finished 34-0. And Jody Conrad, you're smiling now.
I really am. I'm so pleased. This team is really special, and I've known that all year, and I'm just so glad they were rewarded for it.
The key to the game?
I think the key to the game is hard to identify, but I'd have to say Kara Pretty's my hero.
Wasn't she something? She had 15 points, and she was a force inside.
Kara is that kind of player who's been on the bench a lot, who has sat and been in a supporting role. But the game on Friday and tonight, she came to play. I heard her say today, they said, this is Cheryl Miller's last game. She's a senior, and Kara said, I'm a senior too. I'm going to play too.
You know, you've been ranked #1 for 3 years, and people are saying, hey, can the Lady Longhorns win the big one? Well, you put that behind you.
Well, I think that's a bum rap. I think we've had the hardest draw in NCAAA championships in terms of getting here. But we got here, we played well, and I don't think I've seen too many teams that are better than this one.
34-0, what can you do for an encore?
That's perfect, and you strive for perfection, and we're going to enjoy it.
Congratulations, Jody.
Thanks.
A delightful woman and a delightful victory here for the Lady Longhorns. As they finish 34-0, their victory today, 97-81, the TPC to follow. Final round coverage. We want to thank the Women's Basketball Committee for the outstanding job they have done as this 1986 season has come to a close. And here are the faces of the 12 players who led the Lady Longhorns to victory. An impressive victory that probably was as impressive as any in the history of the women's basketball tournament. A 97-81 victory. It's been an outstanding tournament. Congratulations to Texas as well as to USC. USC finishing the year at 31-5. And, of course, the career has ended for Cheryl Miller. For Mimi Griffin, I'm Gary Bender saying so long, everybody.
Nobody has lower fares than United to more...
win of his life as we bring you the final round of the Tournament Players Championship coming up live.
As freshman for UCLA, this one on a 40-yard run. He also scored from 36 and 32, 227 yards rushing, a near record. The 4 touchdowns ties a Rose Bowl record. Chuck Long of Iowa, the Heisman Trophy runner-up behind Bo Jackson.